Hello, and I did see your note on there, TR. I know you're not here right now with me, but I will chat with you later, honey. I really appreciate you coming in to all of my lives, and you have a good dinner date. It's not often that we get away from the house, you know? So, I'm gonna wait a minute and see if anybody pops on. I know with the Christmas holiday, it is very possible that I won't have but maybe two of you here watching my video. So I'm just going to wait for just a moment. And when you pop in, make sure that you turn on live chat so you can see what else being said by anyone that is in the chat. And say hi. I like to know that you're there and know who you're talking to. So I put over in the Facebook group yesterday that excuse me, I put over in my Facebook group Crafting with Debbie yesterday that I wanted to do some coloring, and I wanted to get your guys' idea as to what you would like to do for coloring. You know, whether it would be watercolors like we've been doing lately, alcohol markers like my Spectrum Noir, or colored pencils. And did have one person mention that she'd like to do colored pencils, so that's what we're going to be doing today. And this is a stamp set from Simon Says Stamp that I've had for a bit. I think it came out last year, and I'll be honest with you, I've been wanting to use this ever since, but it is big. It is a huge stamp set, so I had not made it a point to use it as yet. So I went ahead and stamped that out onto some Neenah Solar White. The person that had said that she wanted to do colored pencils is Miss Lena Clark. She's brand new to the group, so when you pop in, I wanted to give you a shout out, Miss Lena. And we're going to be doing some colored pencils. So anyway, I went ahead and stamped out a bunch of images from this set, and like I said, it's big, and I'm not real good yet with colored pencils, so I figured, okay, I'll go ahead and get a little bit of practice in before the live stream. Well, I'm kind of glad that I did, because I barely got started, and I think I've been working on this for at least a couple hours. I got the bow done and these extra shells, and now I still have this other piece to do. And if I have time while I'm on here with you guys, I'll get the rest done, but I'm not sure. One thing I am noticing, though, I did typical coloring like I would do with my alcohol markers. I did with this first part of the bow. So, you know, dark to medium to light, and then when I started working on this piece, I started doing that little flicking motion. Hi, Miss Elizabeth, it's good to see you, honey. So I started doing the flicking motion that I know a lot of folks do with their Copics. Now, Spectrum Noirs have a bullet nib, and let me grab one of those and let you see what I'm talking about. This has a chisel nib, just like the Copics do, but it has a bullet nib instead of a brush, which means it's harder to get those good flicks in because it's not real flexible. It's a real firm thing. I mean, it gives you a lot of control, and I do like it, but I'm not sure if I would do well at this point in my skill level, I guess, with those brush type markers. So I haven't done too well yet with the brush markers that I've got from Arteza. So what I wound up doing is kind of a flicking motion with the pencils, and I absolutely love the texture that it added to that ribbon. It is just gorgeous. And so I did a little bit, kind of doing the same thing, going in with a dark and then a lighter color going forward. And I just got, I think I spent probably about 2 or 3 hours on this. Believe it or not, it takes quite a while to get done with pencils, but the results are just too pretty. I also didn't use any Gamsol or anything. Actually, I don't know where my Gamsol is. So what I usually use when I'm playing with pencils is I wind up using baby oil instead, and it works out fine too. It helps to break down the wax. So I figure I'll go ahead and start on a couple of those shells. And this is basically just de-stress times, guys. I mean, we have all been so busy with the holidays. I mean, I just mailed out over 90 cards, and I still have a few that I want to hand deliver to some of my neighbors. So we all have gotten a ton of stuff done. We've got family, we've got friends. Most people are doing more from home, meaning they had to get everything ready to mail as soon as possible, get it to their family in time. I'm not real good with that. I don't know why, but I guess I just plan things differently. I mean, most people want to get started, or I would love, let me just preface it with this. I would love to put up my tree right around Thanksgiving, and I think I'm going to push next year. That done. Hi, Miss Karen. Hi, Maylin. Hi, Cordelia. And Maylin likes my bow. I like my bow too. So thank you so much for that, honey. And I was just explaining that I wound up using kind of a flicking. I'm experimenting with this. I went ahead and started on this a few hours ago because I wanted to kind of, I don't know, practice a little bit before getting in front of you guys. And I started off with just kind of a regular blend over here, trying to layer them. But then I started using some flicking motions for the different colors, and I think it turned out so much better. I absolutely love that. So if you just popped in, make sure that you turn on your live chat, and thank you for everyone who has already said hello. If you've got any kind of coloring medium, you know, get out your coloring books, get out your pencils, get out your markers. Let's just sit around and color for a while and de-stress. You know, just relax and take it easy. Christmas time, it is really stressful for a lot of folks, and right now we're almost done. We're almost done with 2020, so we won't have to worry about that anymore. And just go ahead and relax, and I will try to talk as I color, but I think you guys probably know that that's sometimes a little bit difficult to do. So I'm just taking up, and I'm also writing down the colors that I'm using on the ones that I like. Like, I didn't really like the starfish or this shell, so I didn't bother with the colors, but I love the blend that I got with this. This is with 2 different colors. I did go over the center with some white before I got started. Not sure if that really made a difference. I used several different colors here, and I absolutely love the way that that blend came out, and I really love that bow. So I'm just going to play around a little bit with some different colors. I'm not a pencil coloring expert, but this is just practice time. This is just de-stress time. This is just time for us to hang out. I was very tempted to do like fireside chat and have a fire video going up for you guys and decided against it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just, well, I guess I'll start on one end and start working my way around, and we will see how far we get in the next hour, and then whether or not you guys want to stick around longer with me or not. So I've just taken, this one is Burnt Umber. I'm going to try just doing that one as kind of a darker color. And I'm not sure if I should go, I think I'm going to go darker around the edges and then try to go lighter around the side. For this, I'm just putting out a real soft layer there. You do want to make sure your pencils are sharp, and you do want to make sure, if you're coloring pencils, you do want to make sure that your pencils are sharp. You do want to make sure that you use a light hand so that you can go over with additional color. If you've seen any of my past videos, you know I've said multiple times that I have a heavy hand. So this is something that is a little bit out of my wheelhouse, I guess you'd say. I think I don't want to go really dull colors, so I think I'm going to go with this. This one is Sunflower Yellow. And I'm happy that I got this pencil sharpener. Oh, that's the first time that's happened. With this pencil sharpener and with these pencils, these are from Arteza. They normally don't break, and this one just did. It broke in the pencil sharpeners. Get that. Okay. Resharpen that one. Because every pencil, did it again. This is a pencil that just does not want to be used. I will try that one again later after I get it sharpened. Right? So I just started off with the burnt ochre. I think I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go in with this blood orange yet. Next. I mean, it is a little bit of a darker color, but what I'm wanting is to have contrast from the edges to the inside. I'm gonna go with a lighter yellow color inside. Since these are shells, you can basically go do anything that you want with them. What they look like out of water is one thing, and they look completely different when they are in water. Plus, so many folks do color these. You know, they dye them before any kind of decoration. And then this one is jasmine yellow, and it's already got a sharp tip. Just trying to layer a little bit of color. This one's probably too light. So guys, tell me, how are you doing with all of your holiday preparations? Are you staying in town? Are you going to relatives? You know, not many of us are doing that, but I did have my in-laws here for Thanksgiving, so you never know. And have you got everything mailed out that needs to be mailed out? I mean, I think everyone's going to be a little bit more understanding right now when it comes to that. Going over this lightly, going over the yellow. So it's gonna kind of blend a bit. Went a little heavy right here with that blood orange. Let's see, what color do I want to do with the next one? I'll go with some greens. And after all, this is a wreath, so going with greens would probably be good. And this set that I've got, I think it's 48. Now this is a 48 count. It's got quite a few greens in it. Start off with a real dark one. Go with the forest. Forest green and emerald green look very much alike, but I think emerald is a little bit more blue, while forest is a little yellow. Start off with forest, and then for the light, I think I'll go with spring. Actually, I'm going to take lime green out also, because that one might work well too. I'm going to just stick with those three to give me some pretty good colors, I think. And what I mentioned when I said that I was using a flicking motion with it, it's basically the same that you see a lot of folks use with their alcohol markers. Flick in whichever direction they're needing to. I think this is just from my observation from earlier today. I think that actually adds, it gives you a little bit darker where you need it, but it also doesn't eat up much of the tint, so you're able to layer it on a bit better. That's good. May also be one reason why it was taking me so long coloring. I was trying something different. Absolutely, it's turning out, but it does take longer because it does create a lot of different. Trying to remember to keep my hand further back on the pencil so that I don't put as heavy a layer down to the paper. Also doing same as when cutting, fussy cutting. I'm turning the paper instead of my hand in this case. This makes it a lot easier for me to work. I don't know about you, but when it comes to trying to do any kind of flicking, I do a lot better when I flick away myself than towards me. If you can see it, but I can see anyway, that there is quite a bit of white in between those little strokes. So though I'm getting some color, not with the white space. lactose. Karen is, yes, Bonnie, I do use a blending tool sometimes. I'm going to try to go down the chat in the order that they came in and respond to everybody. And that's actually a pretty good question. A lot of folks use Gamsol. I don't know where my Gamsol is. So instead, I normally will be using baby oil to try to break down the wax or whatever the pencils are made out of. Like I said, I don't know where it is. I'm sure that sometime in the next few months, I will find it. Karen says that she is quarantining for Christmas. You do. I don't know if you guys have heard, but they finally have come out with the vaccine. I was watching a video earlier today from the governor of my state. I'm in Florida, so that's DeSantis, and apparently he was actually in the villages in Florida, and excuse me, but he was in the villages, and they were giving the vaccine first dose to the folks up there. The rule is going to be, in our state anyway, they're going to focus on the older folks first, 70 and older, because they're higher risk. And we've got a lot of older folks here. I know a lot of people like to retire to Florida because it's nice and warm, and I don't blame them. I not like the cold. But they're planning on doing that, and hopefully by sometime next month, there's supposed to be another vaccine that is being approved. I think it's, I forgot which company it was, but anyway, there's hopefully they're going to be able to get that going, which means that it's going to be a lot nicer for everybody. Hopefully we are almost over with COVID. So I am really looking forward to that. Looks pretty nice. It almost looks like it's glowing. Take down that one shell looks like it's almost glowing. But I think I need to have a bit more dark on the outside to get more of that look. So I'm going to go back over with this dark gray. Maylin asked if these are Prismacolor pencils, and no, they're not. These are actually a set from Arteza. The 48 count. And this is the first set of pencils that I've got from Arteza. I decided to try out a couple of nice sets of different types of mediums from them. The ones I've had in the past have been from Michaels, and it's been Artist Loft brand, and almost every single pencil I have had has broken. I think I did get a small set of Prismacolor at one point, and I had the same problem with them. Part of it could have been trying to just use a little manual pencil sharpener. This one that I picked up at my local Publix grocery store has worked out really well, and it's from X-Acto. It's the same as my X-Acto knife. I mean, a lot of us have got, just craft blades that are from X-Acto, so it seems like it works really well. I've only had one pencil so far break on it, and that was just a few minutes ago in front of you guys. So I am adding some more of this dark green using that flicking motion. I'm sure that you all have got it on. You've all got your computer set to live chat. I just caught your question. You were asking if the pencils are like Prisma. I think Prismacolor are supposed to be a higher quality, but I'm not sure. These, like I said, these are from Arteza. I'm not an expert on pencil coloring. I'm not an expert at any coloring, but I have been practicing with the Spectrum Noir for about 3 years of those markers, but I want to try doing some others too. A little bit of circular motion for that dark part right there at the edge. I really like that. That is almost glowing. I love that little glow look. Let me get excuse me, let me get the rest of the shell done. Hopefully I will be done with more than just the shell by the time we sign off. I do plan on doing one, maybe two more Christmas card type of videos before the season is done, so you can look for that in the next few days. I know everybody is busy, so not a lot of folks are on YouTube right now, and I don't blame them. You need to spend time with your family. But they'll be here when you're ready to watch them, and that's kind of what my goal is. Just doing that little flicking motion as I'm applying it, and I'm trying to just get little bits down and just go back and forth until I get as much color down as I want to start. I always go back over. As long as you don't burnish it too much into the paper, you're able to go back and do. Probably saw my hand was sneaking up towards the point. I am I'm real bad about that. I think it's weird because when I write, I usually write with my fingers right here, and it's hard to remember to go back if you don't want to put too much color or too much pressure. And with a little bit of the spring green. Facing me. This way. And go in some of the lime green again. That's got that nice yellow tone to it that makes it look like it's. By the way, let me know if you're able to see really clear on one. I adjusted my camera because I really don't like having any kind of close-ups blur, and I feel like that's been happening a lot on my. Got a new camera and love the camera, but I'm still trying to learn the settings on it as to how to do everything. I have a feeling it's just that this thing does not want to zoom, so I need to go closer, so I've moved it a bit. So if this is a good resolution, if you're able to see everything clearly, all the strokes and everything, please let me know. From what I'm seeing on the screen, I think it's going to work out great, but I'd like to get your opinions too. So that's one shell done. I think that looks pretty good. It actually has... Okay, that was one thing I knew was going to happen. Let's get the focus fixed. So, no. And I'm going to go on to another one of these. A part of my light is coming from my computer screens. I've got them in front. So I'm going to go ahead and go on to this other spiral type of shell too, and I'm going to do the same thing with the greens. Right now, I'm just following the ridges that are in the stamped image. A little bit of color. Trying to go part is so small. Take that. Then. Take that. Also been experimenting with I've been experimenting quite a bit when it comes to contrast. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but Courtney Krieber had a coloring series this week that she's awesome with her coloring. I love her coloring, but she does use colors that I would never think to put together. She also uses Copics, so it's a little hard for me to try to translate that from her videos into my markers, because the colors that she has I may not have. But I'm learning. Like I said, I'm experimenting and trying to see how it would work for me. She believes, and I'm trying to use some of that on here too. And thank you, Karen. I agree. That, to me, it looks like the green one is almost glowing. So I really like that, and it's all because of the contrast. Using a real dark color here, and I'm using almost a real light, almost yellow color in the center, making it just kind of glow from within. And that's what she was teaching on her video, so you need to make sure to watch that. I did share a link to the playlist over in the Facebook group Crafting with Debbie, so you can check it out there, or I can, after we're done, I'll also put a link down below to her coloring series that she just finished up. And she starts off with which she calls a scary dark. I may steal that term and start using it too, because it's true. But it's a scary dark color that is on the outside that you would not think to use, which means this one's probably lighter than what you really needed. But she starts off with that. Then she has a mid-tone, and then she's got a scary light color. Meaning I probably could have gone lighter than the lime green, but I don't think so. It's going to take me a bit to get used to this. But I did do some coloring on some things that I just created this week that I just think they turned out so well because of that very, very scary dark and very scary light contrast. I've been trying to figure out how to do it. Thank you, Karen. I'm glad that you guys can see this. Ooh, and this one, because I didn't bring the darker color in so much, it looks like it's glowing even more from the center. A little bit more of the dark side, I think. Those flicks in a little further so you can see them. I can see them better. That adds a little bit more texture. I think that's what I loved about the ribbon so much. That gives it it looks almost like a real ribbon because of the texture. Okay, and then we've got this little part. Haven't colored yet. That just needs a little color there. That's pretty. So I think for the one in the middle, I think what I'm going to do with this one, even after we're done here, is I'm going to do alternating. I'm going to be doing some greens and then other colors that would be kind of like ornaments you'd have on a regular wreath. So I go with, for this first one, got orange there. So I think I'm going to do some blues for this next one. And the lightest, brightest blue that I have is Peacock, and that's the light one that I used actually in both of those. And for darkest, this one's Indigo, and I used it on the last one too. And I think I'm going to use this other. This one's Periwinkle. This one's more of a purple blue, so I don't really want to use that. This one's Ultramarine, and that one's also very purple. Okay, this one I think will be better. It's not quite a yellow blue, or green blue, but I think it's closer to them. Still have that piece of pencil stuck in there. Sharpen this other pencil, and I can't do it because I've got a piece of that yellow pencil that I use. Okay. Oh. And this is the way that they come. They do come already sharpened, but it's not with a sharp tip. And I prefer to have a sharp tip if I'm doing any coloring with them. I mean, they do kind of wind up with a sharper tip as you use them, as long as you use them on just one side, but I think it really works as well. So here's another question for you guys. Do you like watching me learn and make mistakes and experiment on these videos? Or would you prefer that I get all of that out of the way before I come on here with you and instead just show you things that I've gotten a little better at? For this one, I think I'm going to start on the inside and my way out. Excuse me. And of course I was using the wrong pencil. I'm going to start off with the indigo because it's the darkest. Let's do a bit of flicking out the center. And if I want to have it to be able to glow like that one, then I need to make sure that I leave enough space in the lightest shade. Just realized that my camera's microphone was, hopefully it hasn't really sounded really. Try to make sure that I always have that off. Adjusting some of my equipment this right before we started, so looks like that may have. Hopefully it sounds clearer now. If it or hope it wasn't being any noise. Thought I had a turn. That side, it's going to come in from the outside edge as well, and underneath it shall be have a little shadow that over shell that I just colored. So Maylin likes to see me mess up. You know what? I do that. I laugh at myself when I mess up, and my husband laughs at me when I mess up too. Then again, that's one reason we got married, is we're both very easily amused. That is pretty. I'm going to come back in with this mid-tone. Let's pull some color. This is going to go real well with the peacock. Peacock is kind of... Actually, it reminds me of peacock feathers distress ink. I think those colors are really, really close, which may be one of the reasons why that distress ink named it. I'm going to need to go back over with the dark, though, the indigo, because this isn't going to... Another issue that I have that I need to learn how to or skip past is space with, you know, the highlights. So with this technique that I'm trying out, and this is the first time I've done it with pencils, I'll be honest with you, but with this technique that I'm using, I'm trying to do more of the deep shadows and the bright highlights, but still not leaving the white. It's gotta be blue in there. It's not gonna be white. So what is your biggest struggle when it comes to color? And I really hope that you guys are actually working on some kind of coloring. That's what this is for. This is our distress time. Try not to be perfectionist. Try to just experiment and try something new. And if it turns out good enough to go on a card, great. If it doesn't, then, you know, it's just paper. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with that peacock blue. I absolutely go in real soft and do a circular motion on. Now, I don't know where I learned this from recently, but I do recall that when I was growing up, that's the way my mom colored. She colored with a nice soft hand. She wasn't heavy-handed like I was. So she would always use just a little circular motion. I mean, kind of like when you're adding fur to an image of an animal or something, critters. But she always did that, and it always turned out just so lovely. And I don't know where she learned it, but I think that's probably the first person that I saw ever add a little tip to a bit more of that down here shadow. I think I'm going to do something a little bit different and see how this does. Like I said, I'm experimenting. I'm going to grab a black. This one is the color Noir. That sharp tip. And I'm going to just try to come in with that part that I want darkest. See if that just enough extra scary dark contrast. Back over it and try to I think that is working. I'm looking at it on the screen and that looks much darker. Let's see if a little bit. That I think. This time my camera did like it's supposed to. I'll take that in. Peacock. I really like the way that shell is turning. Same. I would not recommend doing the black first. Likely you get too much going in as a final piece there. That worked great. I don't know if it would work well on the other colors, but I'm gonna have. Oh, what kind of digital designs, Elizabeth? We want to see what you're working on. You know that, right? Coming back in with the indigo to this next, it actually works better. Having that little bit of black there darkened it up just enough so that you can see the indigo a little bit better coming here. So only problem, well, the biggest problem I see with using pencils for coloring on videos anyway, it's just that it takes so long. So I would have to do small images, which means you don't get as much shading, or you'd have to, I'd either have to do small images or I'd have to speed it up a lot or cut out a lot. I already cut out a lot on a lot of my videos. I'm trying to do less of that, though, more recently. Just because it takes a lot less time with editing if I'm able to just try to talk while I'm doing the video. And I think that's working out pretty well. You guys are the best judge of that. That would, you know, how... Maylin, I will put a link to the markers down, I mean, the pencils. I will put a link down to the pencils down in the description once we're done. So, okay? Yeah, I agree with you, Elizabeth. Elizabeth says that she's running a little bit behind on some of the backgrounds that she needs in her Etsy shop, that she's running behind on personal goals, as usual. Me too. Okay, so we've got the green and the blue, and then we've got the orange there, and let's see, what color do I want to do for this next starfish? I think I want to go with another lighter color one, but do I want to go with orange, or do I could do pink. I think I'll do a pink purple. That would be kind of cool. So this one is actually, if I want to go dark, I'm going to start with the dark purple. This one is lilac, and it was one of the colors I used up in this shell here. But I'm going to use this one as a dark tone. And then I'm going to go in with the lighter ones and make this kind of a pinkish purple starfish. At least that's the goal. I'm going to just go in with that kind of circular motion for coloring on. It doesn't really have that much space, so it's a little harder to do any, you know, fun flicking motion on it. But if that is on all of these, I want to glue. This one I probably, after it's first layer down, I probably get back in with darker shade of that. We'll see. It may wind up working out well since I'm going to be pinks for the bit of shadow where it's laying behind this other shell. And then I think I'm going to go in with my lightest color, which is the peony. Pink is pretty, but I do think it does need a bit more contrast, which means this... Oh, it's light. It's the lightest one I have over here. Actually, it's not. I should have gone with the pink macaron. But it's still really light compared to the purple, but it's not quite light enough to get the contrast that I so far. So, let's try... This one is amethyst purple. You can tell that one is a very, very dark one. Let's see how that works. Definitely adding that contrast. So I didn't finish my conversation with you, Miss Elizabeth. What kind of images are you adding to your Etsy shop? You know these ladies want to know. I'm gonna go on in with the pink macaron. See how that works for blending out. Interesting. I like that. So now I'm gonna go back to the green again, but before I do that, I think I'm gonna try to get these put back kind of sort of in the order that they came from. Not gonna be perfect, but close. Back where that one was. This is my OCD showing. So I'm gonna do this spiral here. This one's gonna be another one that's gonna be in those nice greens that we had. But I want to go with a dark. I'm gonna change the green up a little bit. I'm gonna go with the emerald instead of the forest and see how that does. Well, Karen, welcome to card making. That is awesome. Are you already in my Facebook group, Crafting with Debbie? I'd like to see what you make. And then if you have any kind of questions, we've got a lot of nice people over there that are more than willing to help you out. Okay, so I'm starting out with this emerald green. This part. I decided to go with this here. And instead of doing the flicking yet, I'm going to go ahead and just do a nice little layer all the way around. I think once I get the light shade on, go back in and add the texture with it. I love that texture. It's funny, if you look at some of my cards from a while back, I didn't really have a lot of texture cards. Not when it came to doing the coloring. I wanted to make sure everything blended nicely. So adding texture and doing the blend, and I wouldn't say necessarily a struggle, but it's something that I didn't really experiment with, so I didn't realize that it was so much better by doing a little extra. Okay, go in spring like we. Oh, that would be cool. So if you guys are not familiar with the FSC, which I think most of you probably are, I'll leave a link to the Facebook group down below. The FSC is Foiling Snobs Club. And it was started by Nancy Stamp's channel and Tracy Schultz's channel. I believe there may have been, I think Tracy may have been one of the founding members as well of that. But it's basically just a place that they wanted to get together and talk about cards and foiling and stuff. And they're really, really, really good on foiling. You can absolutely learn a lot from them. But any kind of card making questions and such are more than welcome there. So I'll go ahead and leave a link down below on that. I know that I've learned, I've only been in a few months, and I've learned a lot just, getting on that group. I've had a little bit of struggle to begin with foiling, but now I don't have any kind of problem at all. And my laminator is on my desk, and it's kind of just tucked away. So even today, I decided I wanted to make something with a little bit of foiling. So I printed something out and just foiled it up, and it's perfect. My husband still doesn't understand why I'm enthralled with some of this stuff, but husbands normally aren't. Okay, so this one, because of that different color of green, I think that other green was a little bit darker, and I didn't bring it out quite as far. This one really looks like it's glowing. The thing is, you guys can hardly see it. You can't. To me, it looks like the color isn't showing up quite as well on the screen as it should. It is looking really pretty here. I'm going to go back in and do some of that flicking with the emerald. I'm trying to take this color into the center just a touch. Also kind of breaks up that line. Darken the line. I think that's one reason why I've kind of struggled a little bit. Is that they blend, but they don't blend the way that I would the way I'm getting used to because of alcohol markers. Alcohol markers, they actually truly blend. One color will lighten another color and vice versa. Is you're basically layering the colors and they're just translucent, and if you don't put it down too heavy, that the colors overlapping causes that illusion of a at least that's what it looks like to me. I'm maybe using the wrong terms for it, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. Back in again with that lime green top of that texture, but that out. So neat. We're right at 55 minutes now, and so far I have gotten, I'm on my 6th shell. I'm less than about a third of the way maybe. So did you guys want to stick around and just hang out some more, or are you guys about ready to go have dinner and hang out with your family and such? Either way works for me. Like I said, the other ones that I was coloring earlier, the bow and the other shells, I was sitting here for a couple of hours watching some YouTube videos while I was coloring it. It was taking forever, but it's like the time went by fast. I didn't realize it was going by. Okay, Elizabeth, you're a junkie? Okay. I understand. Okay, I have to show you this. I'm not a junkie, not quite, but I try to send out birthday cards to pretty much all of my family and friends, which means every month when I see all this stuff come up on Facebook, then I have to put my list. So I created my own little happy birthday sentiments, saved it. It's a PDF, I print it out, I cut it out with my scan and cut, and then I just foil it away. So I'm not quite a junkie, but I'm getting there. I'm also thinking about getting back into designing some of the planner stuff that I was doing a couple of years ago. I got so far into cards, I just didn't make time for the digital stuff, and I've got a couple of kind of cool ideas for doing things on the because it's a couple of cool ideas, at least cool ideas to me, for planner insert, but I just haven't made time to do it yet. Yes, it does, Elizabeth. Elizabeth kind of knows how this works. She's got a YouTube channel too. She says that she doesn't mind hanging out because she knows it'll give me some more watch time on my channel. Yes, it will. I did pass the 1,000 subscriber mark this year, and I don't know if you guys use TubeBuddy or not. For those of you that have a YouTube channel, but you should go ahead and try that out. I found out, based on it, I actually have gotten 1,000, oh, I can't remember what it was. I know it was over 1,000 new subscribers just in 2021. I started off with around 600, and meaning I didn't think I was that far away from 1,000, but it just has kept growing, and that's awesome. But I am quite a ways away from the 4,000 viewer hours for the last year. So that's my next goal when it comes to that. But to be honest, I just want you guys to have fun and enjoy hanging out with me. And especially now, we can't hang out with anybody else, so we might as well hang out with our crafty friends, right? Have no idea what's going to happen to my channel once COVID is over, once the excuse me, once the vaccine's out. I want everybody to be healthy and happy. But I really have a feeling that a lot of us that have gotten a lot of extra view time lately may not get as much once everybody goes back to work. Because I know there are a lot of folks that are still out of work, and there are a lot of companies that are going, basically having to minimize what they're able to do, and that's not good. I know that there have been, Catherine Pooler talks about how she had trouble getting some of the things that she needed for her inks back in August, and I love Catherine Pooler inks. It just has to do with, this situation that we're all in. There are a lot of companies that aren't able to do what they were able to do before. They're either low staffed. I know that there's a company that my husband has been dealing with for his company that one of their factories burned down, so they're not able to get the components that his company needs to do their manufacturing. They find another supplier, and it's kind of a mess. It'll be nice when everything kind of evens out again, but for us YouTubers, it's gonna be interesting to see how things happen next year. Okay, so I've got the next shell done. Excuse me. So I think that's far enough from the red that I think I'm gonna do some reds and pinks for this guy. So I can either go to the warm or to the cool side. And the bow is pretty warm. I think I'm going to try going to the cool side. So, it's magenta. That's crimson. This one is magenta. Got a little bit of a purple tone. I'm going to go with garnet at the darkest. So Elizabeth has gotten bit by the foiling bug. Well, I've done a little bit of foiling in the past, but I'll be honest, my printer that I was using, I don't know what it was. I think it's just that it's so old that it wasn't really printing as well as I would have liked, and I didn't know whether or not it was the printer or it was toner or what. But we had replaced the toner that was on a color one that we have, and I still was not getting as good of results. And then my husband's office one of his offices that he was working, this has been years ago, had closed down, and he got to start working from home, so he got to bring home some of the equipment to be able to, and so we wound up with both a color and a black and white laser jet. We didn't use the black and white because we figured, I wanted to be able to use the color. I mean, think about it. So, turns out that the black and white one still works fine. I now have I went ahead and bought a color inkjet. Got that. And then my color laser printer, or the one, his color laser printer wasn't working as well as what we wanted. So we decided, well, okay, let's go ahead and give the black and white one to try again. Turns out with that one, I just needed to replace the toner, and fabulous. So now anytime I want to basically create anything out of foil, I can go ahead and do that. I mean, I'm not really an artist or anything, but I can create some images like over in Inkscape, or even like that simple sentiment. I can create that on my computer and then go ahead and print it out, foil it, use my scan and cut to cut it out, and I'm good to go. I'm not sure. I really don't know if this is something that folks would be interested in or not, but I'm pretty good with Inkscape. I could share how to use that. I am planning on one of the plans that I've got, one of my goals for anyway for 20 is to create some kind of a setup that makes it easier to video things having to do with my scan and cut, and that will teach you guys a little bit about that, give you tips and tricks when it comes to using that machine. It's very similar to using a Cricut, but there aren't really a whole lot of people that just the scan and cut. I mean, I've come across a few and their stuff is good, but there's a lot more that use the Cricut or Silhouette. Okay, I will start working on that idea as well. The only problem is my list of ideas for videos for next year is getting long. I'm not gonna have time to do them all, but I do want to include some of those. I want to get, you know, kind of do a crafty tools and how to use them kind of series, you know, different things like that. I do want to revisit my Traveler Notebook series that I did, I think it was last year or year before, where I created a full Traveler's Notebook, everything from the cover to the inserts, the whole bit, and that was fun, including Shaker Dashboard. That was a fun one. But doing some things like that. So if you guys are interested, here's what I want you to do. Put a comment down in the description box when we're done as to some of the ideas that you would like for me to try out on my channel, and they will go on my list of video ideas. So now I've got the darkest red down, and then I've got the medium one, kind of bringing it down. I went along all of those edges, and then I did do a light drawing down each of the veins of the shell. And now I'm going to go back, now that I've got the dark and the mid-tone, I'm going to go in with the crimson red, which is going to be the lightest. That's also the lightest that I used over in here. Should be, I'm going to do real light hand. It's not going to be pink, it's going to be red, but that's going to be, and then of course I'll need to go back in with dark tone to get it to actually down each of those veins, but just try to keep it narrow. Try to get it again to glow. Oh, that looks pretty. So now I'm going to go back in, debating, go back in with the black or the garnet red. I think I'm going to go in with the black just along these edges that would be as shadow. The light, circular motion. That is giving just a little bit more depth to those shadows. Excited. Yeah, I'm with you, Elizabeth. I like Inkscape and GIMP and such like that. A lot of it because they are free. I mean, until I get good at it, I don't know that I'm going to actually like it. So there's no point in me buying a software that I may not actually ever use. And those are a little bit So Inkscape works out really well. I don't play with it as much as I did, and to be on, sometimes I forget what to do or how I did it the last time. But I even was I was even playing with it a little today. And GIMP was hard for me to figure out to begin with because I've never done anything like, I haven't messed with Photoshop, and it does a lot of stuff like that, but I figured out how to remove backgrounds and such with that before I discovered that there was a website that does it without you having to struggle with it. But there are sometimes you get an image that you want to remove the background from, and it still doesn't work on Remove BG on that website. So I still have to go in with GIMP and give it a try. It doesn't always, but pretty good. And then I use Canva for a lot of things. Pretty much for all of the digital anything I do. I use all the different free softwares. But yeah, if you guys are interested, I'll definitely be happy to show you how some of that works. So for the barnacle type part at the top, all I did was just go in with a with the garnet red around the edges, and then went back over it with the crimson, and that shell is done. Okay, this one. Well, I guess it is time for another green one. So this one is a little bit more elaborate. It's got a lot more different a lot more grooves and such, but we're going to take care of it the same way we've done this other. And again, since I did these two were with the forest green as the darkest shade, and this one was emerald green. I'm going to do this one again with the emerald green. So I've got two in a row. And I'll just start with the part where it's thin. I think with this one is like a crab shell or snail shell type of shell. Part where something would crawl out. I'm gonna go back over this. May actually restamp the whole thing. Boss after I'm not quite positive yet. Did that one with the dark and mid-tone. This one, like you would petals of a flower, it's for this section, have the lightest edges. It'll be kind of interesting. Kind of the way that conch shells normally look, except that those are normally pink, and this actually Thank you so much, Carmen. And yes, part of the reason I'm spinning it around is I'm trying to figure out where does the shell start and end. So I'm going to go ahead and do this part. You guys probably see some of those images too, where you're looking at it to begin with and you're not real sure where to start because you don't know what the different pieces are. I mean, there is a stamp set from Brutus Monroe I absolutely love. But when I was coloring it this year, I wasn't sure where it was supposed to color, and I think when I saw Amy Art do the same image, she had the same kind of problem. It's like when you get in there, go a little bit further and you see. Now the one I'm talking about is the Snow Globe stamp set. It's got like 4 different, the Seasons Snow Globe. It's no longer available. The general Snow Globe he still got, but the one that had the Seasons on it, have it in. And this year I did both Halloween and Christmas with that one. And the the Halloween one, in some places it was hard to tell where one piece of the image started and another one ended. So that was kind of interesting to try out. And I think it's kind of the same, especially with the one for fall. Was it for fall? It's for summer. I think there's one with like a truck on there and a house, and it's a little hard to tell exactly where the house ends and where the truck starts and where the where the sky. I mean, it's where the lines are so small. The different pieces of that one image are so tiny that it's hard to tell where it starts and ends. That's like this. It's got a lot of detail, and it's hard to tell exactly, okay, what is this detail piece supposed to be? Like, is this shell supposed to be part of this, which I think it is, or is it supposed to be part of something else? And now I've got another shell behind here, so it's like, okay, I think this piece and this piece go together. That's the way I'm going to color it. But if I had started at this end, I would have had no idea. You know, if I glow in some more. I think this combination with the greens is probably now one of my favorites. A bit dark and where parts of the shell kind of up. So pretty. And this is the first time that I've colored this image. I think I bought it last year and have just never gotten around to using it. Looking at this, I'm thinking this may be part of this one too. So I'm going to go ahead with part and make it green. Oh, that looks neat. I'm impressing myself. Okay, so next I think I'm going to go in with some oranges. Blood orange. Pumpkin orange. I'll do something a little bit scary for me and try the peaches and cream as the lightest. It's not exactly an orange, but I think that might actually. And this is a small image, so if it messes up, I won't actually be using too much. Today, again, as I mentioned earlier, is all about practicing and playing and venting and just relaxing. I am so glad that you guys decided to come out and hang out with me. Hope that watching my video helped to ease some of your stress from all the things that you have to do. It's peach. This next section. Another one spiraled. Anytime color down too much. It's not space. And then just then I'll go in tone. Gives it a little glow. This one I'm not. It's just too tiny. A little bit more contrast, so I think I'm going to not Barnet would too much. Just a touch. An orange. That looks good. Now I don't want to put another green right beside it, so I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna do another blue. What we started with. Peacock, ultramarine, indigo. Looks like it comes down to here, so that's where we're going to start. Find this. That's where our shadow. And now I'm going to do some of that flicking. I do have to admit that the more I'm practicing, the faster I'm getting at putting the color down. Yeah, I'm not too heavy. That blend. Okay. Ultramarine. Sure. I think you guys are going to see more colored pencil videos coming up in the next couple of months. These are turning out much better than what I expected, and I'll be honest, I had not thought about doing colored pencils really until that comment in my group when I sent out, what do you guys want to see, and somebody suggested doing the colored pencils over doing the watercolor that I've done quite a few lately, and the markers. I also didn't realize it was going to take quite this long to do them. I think I need to have another pop of orange. We've got one here and one there. Both of them are very, very small. So bring this one here. I know it's a bit closer, but I think I'm going to put that one. It's going to be another one of them. So start off again with the blood orange. Right at that group where the shell meets itself, where we're going to that spiral. Go ahead and put that darker. Of course, starfish shell. Side, same. they're small enough. I'm not really that concerned about the flex-in texture. See it. So tiny. I think that part needs to be green too, just like part. I think it's part of that shelf. Doesn't quite look like it belongs to either this spiral or this blue cone, I guess, or this spiral. This paper I'm using right now is, I think, this is Neenah. I'm using Neenah 80 pound right now. And you're right, I do need, Carmen, I need to experiment and see what works and what doesn't. I realized not too long ago that my printer, when it comes to the digital printing that I do, I'm on TaylorMade Cards for You's design team, and every month we get a digital kit to play with. And I realized that some of the other creators in there were getting such vibrant images, and I wasn't very happy with that because mine weren't coming out that way. So I tried it out on some printer paper, on some photo paper that I've had in my stash for 20 years. But I tried it on this last project, and it looks awesome. However, photo paper is more expensive than regular paper, so I basically just got a bunch of different types of paper recently, and I'm going to try them out with the printer, and haven't done that yet. I'm also haven't really done any kind of experimenting when it comes to my different coloring mediums on the paper. So these are things after the holidays I can try to start getting in my to-do list. And I am going to rewatch the video with a notepad to write down these different ideas that you guys are popping into my head, so I can try to get some of that done for you guys this year. I mean, I know that people say use Bristol Smooth, but again, Bristol Smooth is a little more expensive than, say, Michael's Recollections. I probably gonna either stick with Michael's Recollections or the accent paper that accent. There's a paper that they promote a lot over on Spoiling Snobs Club that I just ordered and just got in, that so far I've tried out a few pages and it seems to work fine, but I haven't done any kind of a comparison. Accent, I almost had the word in my head. Accent opaque, yes, thank you, Elizabeth. But I want to do some comparisons on different types of things that I'm doing, but I haven't had a chance to do that yet with the holiday crafting series. So now that the holidays are pretty much done, we've got next week is New Year's, so we need to have some kind of New Year's card. But after that, I can really start working on other types of things. Hi, Cherie, welcome. We've been on here for quite a while, so to see the rest of the coloring that I've done on this little guy, you can go back and watch the replay. But I'll go ahead and go over this again real quick because I know we've had a few more folks pop in. I'm using Simon Says Stamps MELE KALIKIMAKA stamp set that I think it came out last year, and it's got this really nice wreath that's made up of different shells. I think this is just gorgeous. And so I am experimenting with colored pencils tonight. I'm not a colored pencil expert. I'm using today for all of my coloring, I am using this set of Arteza 48 colors colored pencils. And so far they are working out awesome. I've only had one of them have the lead break when I was trying to sharpen it, so that's a plus. I think what I need to do is I need to go back and try using my Artist Loft ones or Prismacolor, because I know I've got those sets around here somewhere to see how it works. But anyway, I am trying out some different types of techniques that I haven't used before. and I don't really do colored pencils that much. But I decided to start to try using a flicking motion on my colored pencils mid-bow. I had done the bow and these other shells before we started. This one was the first one that I did, and it really got a really nice blend. But the rest of this has got this nice texture, so I have to say I like it better. So far, everything is looking really good. I'm using some techniques from Courtney Krieber. If you haven't seen her her coloring series, I'm going to put after we're done, I'm going to put a link to that down in the description. And she talks about going in, and I'm not doing it quite like her, she's awesome, but she starts off with going in with a scary dark for all of her darks, her shadows, and then she comes back in with a scary light as her highlight. And I have to say that on these green shells, that is working out. So they look like they're glowing. That's just what I'm thinking. To me, it looks like they are glowing. And I'm not going nearly as light or dark as what she does, which just means I'm still nervous about it and I need more practice. And I never dreamt that I'd be able to do this with colored pencils. I have played with colored pencils before, but I've never been able to get this kind of layering up on there, which means I've been, for the first time ever, been able to go in with a much lighter hand than normal. Okay, so now I think it's time for another green, because we've got this little layer of blue and orange, so this one needs to be, and I'm needing to sharpen my pencil again. So for this one, because last one I did was with the emerald green, I'm going to go back to the forest green as the darkest. Like that one needs sharpened too. So I'm going to start off with that one as the darkest shade and come in. Actually, this one is kind of perfect. The shape of it is perfect for the flicking, so I'm going to do that. I'm trying to make sure that I'm not holding the pencil real close to the end, because that makes you use harder pressure. The further back you do, the lighter pressure you do. And I tend to color with a heavy hand, so starting off with that, adding a little color right down here, that's going to be the shadow. And then, because of these little veins here, I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit down each. Turning it around because I can't flip towards myself. Same thing under this little ridge here. Probably tell that this green looks a lot different than these others. This one is actually going to be colored the way that these two were. These two started off with the forest green and the darkest. These two started off with the emerald green. The darkest. Next I go in with the mid-tone, which is going to be spring green. Go over that and bring the color out just a touch. And you really don't have to have a third color like I'm doing here, but I think that it just brings that little bit of blending, so that the colors seem to merge together. Back over lime green as my highlight, which glow again. I love it. And because of what I learned, I'm going to go ahead and end with black, which is noir. It's really dark shadows, just to give it a bit. I'm going to go around this orange shell, going into the blue as well. A bit more. Here, that green one. Now I'm going to go back in forest green, out some of that. here, I'm just put in some of the dark and then light color. A little bit of texture. And I'm going to take that again and as well. I really am going to have to experiment excuse me, with those other pencils. I don't know if it's the pencil or if it's just technique. Love the way that this. You wonder if I was doing it wrong all this time, which is acceptable, or if I just had really bad pencils. Okay, so don't need another green yet. That one down. Could do with the purple. Last purple was that other starfish. So this fading. I think I'm gonna do the shell behind the starfish, then do the starfish in a different. Start off with this starfish. Right now, I'm just putting in that shadow right behind it. Give a little bit of depth. Not sure how that one's going to turn. It's hard to get to any, any light source, any kind of real plan on this shell. So far hidden. So it's going to be kind of scary. I'm going to do the plum purple for the second color. And then I'm going to try scary light using that penny pink. It's the last. No idea how that combo's going to work. It's coming. I'll probably need to go. Coming up with that. See how it looks. I think I like that. What do you guys think? You like this in purple shell? And some more. Something else I'm gonna have to do, watch this video, is some swatches of these combos. Wow. That's something else that I don't really do enough of. I just started making some, creating some new swatches for coloring so that I can try to remember what I like and what I don't. Okay, so that one's there. Got a couple of oranges. I don't need another. Don't need purple yet. I think I'll go with another one of these reds this time. I think I'm gonna do a red, and then I may do another. I may do a pink somewhere else. Actually, that too close there. That one needs to be pink. So I've got pink macaron, candy pink, and then I've got this purple. That might work instead of. I'm gonna try this guy with garnet red, all pink. Hopefully that'll give enough of a contrast beside the. This time I'm just doing this circular motion to add the color down. Right along. Shadow. It's a peony pink. Center. That's where I'm. See how. Very light. I have to say this is probably my least favorite out of all of them. Not because of the combo, but just that I couldn't. See if I can to it. Try. See if that. It's with. Save. Ink. It's definitely helping. Sometimes it's just that little bit of extra you need. I went too heavy right there. It'll work. Okay, so pink and purple and orange. Could do with another blue. So do I want to do the big? Do this big shell. That's two shells. Got one shell here, another shell here. There. Wow. I think I'm going to do this one in the center. Once. There you go. Start off over here by the ribbon. Maybe you guys turn your paper instead of just coloring. I guess I want to get the, I guess I just want to get the going the right direction. Just turn my paper. No, this one's not on Accent Opaque. This one is on Neenah. Neenah Solar White 80 pound. But I am going to experiment with the Accent Opaque sometime soon because I just got a huge ream of that in. So far, everything that I've heard about the Accent Opaque is great. Go with Indigo. Got Ultramarine. Peacock. Peacock is gives it that lovely. Okay, so I could just go back over. It actually gives it just a slight purplish tint. Bit and brings. I made this one a little bit different than I did the others. The others I went ahead and went on both sides. I haven't decided if I'm going to put depth on both sides of the curve or just on one side. I'll probably go back and do two, but I'll see what it looks like first once I get that peacock. This is playtime and taking. Guess what? These images are going to be going through my ScanNGut, and it's going to become a card. Because this is too nice to be just. I'm loving the way that it's turning out. I was not expecting this when I've not used the stamp set before, and I haven't done much coloring with it. So I am pleasantly surprised. So, like I always say though, if I can do it, you can too. So that just means take out your pencils, sit down, just play. Try out different things. Watch some YouTube, see what the other folks are doing and what they have found that works for them. And I am constantly amazed at how well things turn out. This is cute. Kind of looks like rose to me. But I am going to do like many of the others. Back in with black. It's going to darken up shadows a bit more. Probably not. Stamp. Stamp it. I have a tendency to accidentally stamp wrong. Sometimes when I go back to do the second stamping, even though I've left it in stamp platform, still not perfect. Not want to mess up this. Haven't heard of Spring Hill White. 80-pound vellum. 250. $11 is. Have to try that too. I have not tried coloring on vellum. I do have some vellum. I think I've been a little bit afraid of using it for much. So I've still got the same small package that I've had for probably 2 years. Because I'm very, very rarely. Okay, so this shell behind there needs to be... That one needs to be green. That would kind of split up the colors that we just put. So I'm going to emerald green this time. There's not much of the shell showing, so I'm not going to take a lot. This one done. And this is probably a different shell than this one. I'm going to go ahead and color it green anyway. Partially because I already did. Partially is you can't really tell where the shell is, where it begins. I think that's the only part that you can... That looks kind of like this. I have a feeling that there's another shell facing that way that you can see. Shadows in from behind the shell. See? It's just the entrance to that part. Back in with... Do you think I need another 3 orange, 2 purples? I need another purple. This guy here, I think, it's purple. There. This one is real easy with the flicking because, and you know that you probably should do it. All those flicking details that are already on the stamp. Turn it side. I'm gonna try this color. I haven't used it yet. This one is called Eggplant. It's reddish purple. But it's a little darker than this other one that I used, which was plum. I think I may use either use a pink or the plum. It's the final color on this one. I am going to use the plum. I want to put a little bit of shadow here though behind. Just missed that. I like the too much texture. I can blend some of the just try adding a little bit more through it. It's better. For the suggestion, MELE. Have to try coloring. I can find some kind of New Year's images to try coloring in color pencils next week, and could do it next week. Looks like I've got 2 shells left. I've got this little piece here and this little piece here. I think I'm going to do them both in orange. Should balance out. I'll start off again like or with the blood orange. Shadows. To flick with mid-tone with pumpkin orange. Back in. Cream is so light, trouble seeing whether or not color down. Okay, and same little guy. Darker contrast. And that was such a small piece, I just zipped right. The only other thing we have left are all these little bits. What I'm going to do with those is a blue. It's pink turquoise. This looks like a green, but it's actually turquoise. I'm going to try it about the same color as sharpener. Adding those in a bit of an that finishes. I really like the way that it's wreathed. really surprised. So thank you guys for coming by and coloring with me today. I'm going to go ahead and end here. And if I don't talk to you over on Facebook or something in the next few days, you guys have a wonderful Christmas. I do plan on doing another live next Tuesday night, again at 5 o'clock. I'm thinking of moving the time, though, starting in the new year to 5:30 or 6 o'clock. Let me know what you think. I know that there were several people that came in later because I'm thinking, you know, they probably got off work and didn't get to get in time. But let me know what you think. I'll be happy to change the time so that I can hang out with you guys. So anyway, you have a wonderful Christmas, and remember, as I always say, I can do it. You can too. Look at that. I want to, oh, also, if you were coloring with me, please post a picture over there in the Facebook group because I really want to see it. If you're not a member of my Facebook group yet, there will be a link down in the description below. So you guys have a wonderful night, and I'll chat with you later. Bye.